Welcome back to Glowforge 101 here on Auntie Tay's YouTube channel. I'm Katie from Things Katie Makes, and today we're going to talk about one of my absolute favorite subjects, materials. There are so many things you can score, engrave, and cut with your Glowforge, from draft board to marshmallows. In this video, we'll take a look at some of the materials you might want to use. We'll also discuss material testing and why it should be a part of your process. As we've talked about in other videos, the laser in your Glowforge has three main functions: score, engrave, and cut. But not all materials can be cut. So let's start with things that can. First up, wood. This is one of the most popular materials for Glowforge users and has such a variety of applications. You can easily cut wood that is a 1/4 inch or thinner, and you may be able to cut up to 1/2 inch with some trial and error. You can cut both plywoods and hardwoods for different applications. Common choices of wood to cut are MDF, also known as draft board, which is great to use when you know you're going to be painting a piece, Baltic birch, cherry, sapelli, and walnut. All of these wood choices provide different looks and can be used in different projects. If you are planning to paint though, MDF and Baltic birch are great, inexpensive choices. Acrylic, my favorite materials. Acrylic is defined as strong, stiff plastic available in a variety of colors. And I would also say a variety of specialty things as well. What I love most about acrylic is the simplicity. Once it's cut, you can use it right away. No sanding or painting required. But you can add to it if you want as well. So many acrylic suppliers are making unique glitters, flakes, marbles, mirrors, even faux wood grains, along with their own custom prints, so the possibilities with acrylic are really endless. Common uses of acrylic are signs, keychains, earrings, cake toppers, among other things. Leather. Some of the most amazing work that I see on a consistent basis is leather work from so many talented makers. They make everything from hat patches, to wallets and handbags, to engraved catch-alls, loads of possibilities. The three material groups we just discussed are all offered in proof-grade versions from Glowforge. Everything we discuss from here on out could void your warranty if you have an issue, but I've seen many people, including myself, use things we'll discuss successfully. Fabric. While this is a material I haven't used, users will cut quilt materials, fabrics in patterns for costumes, and additional things. Paper. The laser can make very intricate cuts very quickly, so many people will use to cut paper, especially if they don't have a die cutting machine. Cardboard. This is super useful, and Glowforge recognized the need to add settings to support it. They even base them on the standard thickness of Amazon boxes. Since materials are precious, frequently you may want to test the size and shape of a design, but how to do it? Cardboard. You can build out what you're working on and refine it in a material you likely already have on hand. Sign makers will also use templates made out of cardboard for placing their lettering, saving themselves time and headaches. Just make sure when you're cutting cardboard that you choose the right settings, or you will likely torch it. Believe me, I know from experience. Rubber stamp material. One very cool feature of your Glowforge is the ability to make your own rubber stamps. As many Glowforge owners are small business owners as well, what a cool thing. Put your logo on a stamp and you can use it to customize all your packaging, your thank you notes, your tissue paper, all the things. Now, I'm sure you've all seen a Glowforge commercial with someone engraving the back of their MacBook, right? So let's review materials you can't cut, but you can engrave. Glass. This is a super popular material to engrave with gorgeous results. Think pint glasses, picture frames, and other giftable items. Aluminum. When you engrave your MacBook, you're really just taking off a layer of aluminum. So anything that you see with aluminum may be a possibility to engrave. Marble. Marble is another great option for gift ideas. If you look for a darker marble, you might be able to get a better distinct engraving line as it might show up lighter. Silicone mats, silicone sleeves, silicone cup holders. These are particularly popular if your market is moms of babies and toddlers. There are all kinds of cool silicone bibs, cup sleeves, and other products that you can engrave the child's name on. Cutting boards. One of the simplest ways to get started and a great business, especially if you have a local customer, is cutting boards. They're popular to monogram, add a recipe or saying on, or to fully engrave. They also are great gifts for new homeowners, so connect with the realtors in your area. Please note, once you engrave your cutting board, it is likely not food safe. Just be mindful of this in using yourself or selling to customers. So earlier I talked about testing your materials and why it's important. So what does that mean? One of the most heartbreaking things you'll experience using your Glowforge is a cut that doesn't go all the way through the sheet. Especially if the material was expensive, or you're only one, or the design took up the whole sheet. So, how do you do everything you can to avoid this? You dedicate a small portion of your material to running different settings for power and speed to see how the material reacts. You can tailor your tests to what you do most often. So, if you are really focused on engraving, you can try different lines per inch and different speeds and power to see how dark and deep your engrave is. If you are concerned about cutting through, you can start with similar proof grade material settings and then dial the power and speed up or down based on your results. It is so worth it to sacrifice a small corner of your material versus an entire sheet. I suggest keeping a record of what settings you use for what materials and from which suppliers, so you always have your best starting point on hand to save both time and material. Another thing you'll want to test for is kerf. This is how much material is removed by the laser during cutting. You'll want to know this information if you're making slots or tabs that need to fit together, especially if you don't want to use glue to hold them. Kerf testing is 201 material though, so we won't cover it in detail here. As you're looking for materials, you'll want to be sure that they are laser safe. The biggest thing you're looking to avoid is toxic chemicals that could be given off by the product as it is heated and cut. This is something to pay particular attention to with plastics, silicone, and vinyl. Find a few sources that you love for materials. There are so many small businesses making amazing products to support Glowforge creators. And they ensure their products are ready to go right into your machine, often providing recommended cut settings and pre-masking their products as well. Now, go have fun. Test all the things you want. Always watching with your fire extinguisher close at hand. We can't wait to see what you create.